fresh out from the TT and heading back to work as usual. People would assume that there's some connection between what we've achieved at the TT and what will be possible at Knockhill, but for those that don't understand it, it's like two different disciplines. It's, you know, like cycling around a velodrome and then someone asking, oh, how is that going to help you on the BMX track? It's just so different that they don't compare, but that might not be immediately obvious to, you know, people watching and following what's happening. So I feel like it's more of a rewind and go back to sort of where we finished at Donington. Obviously we had a brake problem in the final race which had me fall, but up until that point we were making some progress, I felt like, with the bike. And the only setback to all this is that Donington is a very different circuit and layout to what we are arriving to at Knockhill. So it will be for us, the team, me and the crew, will just be extending and progressing on from what we were trying to achieve at Donington, but just have to accommodate the changes of nature of the circuit, being that it's very undulating at Knockhill, and predominantly a lot of the corners are more a stop-start type riding style compared to the more flowing nature of Donington. So it will be a bit of a case of roll the bike out in the first practice, see how it compares, and make adjustments accordingly. I need to go and get dry. When the track conditions were wet yesterday, the bike was working quite well. But then even during the session, as the track started to generate a drying line, where I felt I was strong, I was starting to then become more balanced out to all the other machines. So that's an area where we're still working, even in full dry conditions. I feel like there's limits to what we can do with the bike, and we're trying to explore the settings and changes to try and exploit more out of the machine and make it more competitive with the other bikes on the grid. So yeah, it's just like there are areas where our bike's stronger, but there are areas where other bikes are stronger, so we've got to kind of always work and try and minimise the deficit.
So, I mean, you've done so much, you know, it's like, and then you come here and you've got to reset, you've got to get ready. So your expectations for the weekend, you know, you've told us you're a perfectionist, you want the best, you know, you always strive for every rider is on the grid. Yeah. So realistically, what are we expecting of Josh Brooks and your team this weekend then?
I mean, it's like trying to guess the lottery numbers. I mean, we're just going to put our best efforts forward and make all the best decisions we can with the information we've got. We were pretty quick in the rain yesterday. As I said, as it started to dry out, it showed weaknesses in our setup. So we have to, you know, bear in mind that maybe the race this weekend might be wet, it might be drying, it might be dry. You know, we don't really know. So we've just got to, you know, arm ourselves with the best of the knowledge we have available, and then I just got to ride the wheels off it. Things have gone really well. The first practice for maybe 5 laps was dry, so I was in the top 5 on the opening practice, and then it started to rain. And even during the rain, I was hovering around the top 3 sort of pace. So in both conditions to start with was going really well. Then today we had dry conditions for practice 3, and it again was showing some good promise. We moved into qualifying and actually made well, not me personally, but the crew made a change to the bike, went softer with the rear spring. And I got a lot better grip feeling from the bike, so it was just fine tuning, which is a good position to be in. And I was able to go 3rd, so starting the race off of the front row. Yeah, sure. I'd prefer it to stay dry, obviously, like everybody, but even if it does come down with rain, we're ready for that situation as well. So just got to hope for a good start, stay out of trouble, and push hard.
All the best for you and the team out there this afternoon.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's great to get back up there and on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't actually know which way to walk out the garage to go for the interview. It's been that long. Knockhill's, it's one of those tricky circuits where, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. It's just a little bit short, and we're often, facing some changes in weather again, like we are today. So, yeah, I've got obviously the package underneath me at the moment is improving, and we're working towards getting it better all the time. So that gives us confidence that we're going in the right direction. The team are always working really hard, but for a long time we haven't had any great success to celebrate. So hopefully this is the sign of things to come.
First win at Knockhill, Josh. It's hard to believe that all the years you've been coming here, 7 podiums during that time, but that elusive victory. Hopefully it's going to come this weekend.
You know what? I didn't even realise I hadn't won here before. I won't have my heart set on the win as long as we just keep improving and become more competitive and build our points. That's more the focus. I mean, a win would just be like sprinkles and a cherry. Yeah, it's been a long journey in the making. It was showing signs of promise at the end of Donington, but obviously I crashed with brake problems. So we didn't see it through, and then I was worried that by the time we got to Knockhill, with the track being so different, maybe it wouldn't translate. What works at one track doesn't always go on to another. So unfortunately, pleased that the bike's still performing in a better range than we had previously, and we just need to keep working forwards. Obviously, I'm super pleased to be back up on the front row for the start of the first race. Makes a massive difference being able to get away at the front rather than having to fight through. And or equally pleased for everybody in the team. They are really working hard all the time, and when I'm not got the best results, I can be quite hard to work with. So I appreciate their efforts, and hopefully we can start to celebrate some better days going forward. So. We just normally give everybody a bit of insight into what's been happening with the weekend so far. Obviously, we've just come back from the Isle of Man TT, so it's quite a environmental change. But I feel like, from my side anyway, I feel like I've made that transition quite well. No, I know you got to be careful what you say these days. Just like old-fashioned words now can mean so many different things. Obviously we have rain now, but when I just looked outside moments ago, it looks like it's going that way, and that direction actually looks like it could be clear again. So you never know, it could actually be a drying race by this afternoon when we do get started. I think it's 4 o'clock or yeah. So there's a bit of time for this to clear off and maybe even dry out. And if it doesn't, I'll persevere with the wet, and we should be fairly competitive anyways.
Take a picture of me together while we're... What were you rolling to the grid on?
It's tricky for the crew. Obviously, people are familiar when it's wet conditions, we run wet tyres, and when it's dry, you run slicks. That all seems very logical, but the setup of the bike, springs, shock, damping, compression, rebound, all that sort of thing is all very different from a wet setting to a dry setting. So a rider can have a wet setup on the bike with dry tyres, or have a dry setup on the bike with wet tyres, just because there wasn't enough time to make the changes that maybe a team wanted to make. So it's more than just picking the right set of tyres for the moment. So yeah, I mean, I feel for all the crews out there. They're all desperately trying to make the right decision for the race. And yeah, as we've just seen then, it's been declared a wet race. So regardless what happens, it'll go from start to end. So yeah, I mean, we just got to make a decision and stick with it.
Well, Josh Brooks is in it's just like being at Sydney, isn't it, Josh? We've got the Barbie ready for later on, but difficult conditions here. But it's a full, proper wet race today.
Yeah, there's definitely no guessing about which setup everyone's going for. It's going to be full wets and you know, softer settings to suit these conditions as possible.
Just can we go like this here, this here.
Race so early that I'm an easy target. As soon as you break, because they think, oh, I can overtake him. And then they lunge, and then even whenever the FHO, Monster Energy, BMW, VIP, special guests, hospitality. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see you all here. I think you're all here because it's raining out there, not because you actually want to come and listen to our dribble, but I'll gloss over that and think that you're all here because you desperately want to hear what we've got to say. Anyway, the opening sessions of the weekend were dry, so it was like around the sort of top 5 area, and then it sort of went into rain, and you know, it was more or less similar, you know, top 3, top 5 sort of area most sessions. So we're kind of confident in both conditions. I actually had a really good qualifying. I was sitting second in qualifying and like doing lap after lap, trying to refine my my laps and try and find something more to go quicker. But in the end, I actually ended up third. So, but I was still happy with that. I'm sat here in this moment now with a horrible feeling of discontent. Again, another year where, oh, okay, that's Knockhill behind us now. It's not how I want to come to this race, not how I want to leave this race, but again, it's ended up like that. It just seems like luck never goes our way when it has the chance. We were on the front row in qualifying in dry conditions, and then it's been rain affected from that moment on. You know, for once I would have actually been grateful for just dry, because we had the speed in the dry to be more competitive. There's been other weekends in the past where I would have liked to have rain to maybe change the dynamics a bit and maybe bring things into our favour, and it's just stayed dry. So I don't seem to be able to capitalise on any situation, and I'm actually just a bit bewildered at the moment. We've had speed earlier in the weekend in the wet in comparison with the others. I haven't lost speed or increased the performance of the bike in any way. I'm actually still doing better lap times at the end of that race than I had previously in the weekend, but we just haven't moved forward like the others. The conditions, if anything, have been the same or getting worse during the races, and I haven't moved forward like others, the rest of the grid have. So how that's even possible, I don't understand. If one person improves, then okay, they've made changes or they've found a better confidence. But to see so many of the other riders on the grid improve their lap times whilst we stand still is beyond my understanding. I don't know. So we have to just accept it for what it is at this point, and we'll move on now to Snet. Snet last year was probably one of my strongest events. I can only hope and pray and believe and dance and rub stones together. I don't know, whatever it takes to get some success there this year.